We'll hope to make that name. But this year, I think it's very, very useful for us to see what other people in other parts of the world are doing. So over to you, Terrence.
All right, thank you, sir. Excellent. Let's see. Now, I think if it's possible, share my screen in just a moment. But first, I'll introduce my colleagues. Rochelle, you know, because she was there with me last year in person presenting. She's a researcher previously from University of Illinois, Urbana-Champaign. Do I have that right? I think. And she's now our newest member of the staff, Assistant Director for Innovation Technologies, focusing on AI and real time and everything and anything great. And also with me is Rob, our Director of Operations. So he's our senior staff. He basically does all the hard work for me. So I just come up with the ideas and make lots of things happen for people. So, so I'm Terrence, and we are School of Visual Arts. So we are the School of Visual Arts. What's the name of our department, Rob? MFA.
MFA Computer Arts.
Thank you, MFA Computer Arts. And I think at that I'll share my screen and I'll show some things. Let's see, we'll do this. Optimize my video. Share, and I believe you can see a robot.
Yes.
Excellent. So let's see. Yeah, so I'll show some student work. I'll tell you about our department, some history, how we do things. And then we'll have a little conversation with Rochelle and Rob. Tell you about, basically our philosophy, how we love to integrate with European institutions. Rob's taken a big lead on setting up some of those for us. But we're a 2-year MFA department. So it's a terminal degree here in the States, as you might know. And let me just hit play on this 1 minute and 7-second reel. This is last year's selected work. So this will give you a sample. We've got about 100 graduate students, and they're about 75% international, about 70% young women. And let's see, some statistics. Roughly half and half 2D and 3D storytelling animation. And then the remaining roughly 10% do what we call experimental art. So it used to be basically gallery installation work. And it still is mostly, but it also encompasses game design, AI, AR, XR, VR, all the R's. Real-time projection mapped, Unreal, haptic surface, all kinds of cool stuff. So that's some background about what this is. And I will hit play. Hopefully you can hear it. I'm sure the sound is wonderful too. So let's see. I don't know if you can also see our talking heads while I show this. I'm not sure, but you can. Oh, excellent. I think what I'll do is I'll switch over. Well, let me show you the rest of our team, basically. So we're really proud of our students. We're up to, I think, Rob, correct me if I'm wrong, 9 Student Academy Award winners for animation, short animation. So that's a pretty high bar we set. And again, that crosses all these media. And let's see, I won't talk more about this stuff. I do want to talk about our staff a little bit. So we've got great assistants on the team. Everything from academic advising and curriculum coordinating, which we'll talk a little bit about probably with Rochelle, because we've made huge strides in the last year since EVA last year inspired us about all kinds of things. And we've got a great systems team as well. So let me switch over to this. And I will, let's see, we'll do the slideshow. And I'll blast through this in just a couple of minutes. And then Rochelle and Rob and I can just talk to you. And hopefully we'll save some time at the end if there's students in the room or anybody can ask us questions, which would be great. Because I think I saw Jonathan and Tula in the front row. We can, I see you. So basically, the thing we're about is collaboration. So when I took over the department 7 years ago, I'm from a production background, so I'll show you a little bit about my background to show you where I'm coming from leading the department. And it's really, the real world is about collaboration. It's really critically important to foster just happy accidents meeting between people and our students from all over the world. That's been really important. Creative industries is a term you in the UK are very familiar with. It's not so heavily used here in the States, but you know what it is. It's basically mixing all the disciplines, whether it's fashion, photography, fine art, graphic design, animation, music, all of that. And we will talk about AI for sure. So yeah, just briefly about my background. Again, from production, I came up through the ranks over about 20 years, mostly in making pixels by various means. And a lot of it was live action visual effects. Here's a lot of really bad movies I worked on. And a couple not so bad, like Interview with the Vampire was great, and Hook was too. So, but I really cut my teeth at the high end at ILM, and that really set a bar for me with collaboration and just no compromise that I try to bring here to SVA. And it's working with traditional analog media. I mean, being inspired by, this is Yusei Uesugi painting a traditional matte painting of Neverland for Hook when we worked on that Spielberg film way back in '91, scanning it in. Here's a $1 to anybody who can guess what movie we worked on here. Also in about 1992. But I love the fact that being trained coming up as an artist myself, it wasn't always about working in the computers. It was, having the model shop create these maquettes, these hyper-realistic creatures to take out in the parking lot and hold under real sunshine and see how the light and the water plays off the skin, and then be able to emulate that, to make a Jurassic Park. 3D printing, that was just, I love this photo. I guess it's so inspiring. Back then, this was 1993, so very early stereolithography. We've got a world-class Visible Futures lab here at SVA, where students get access to all the latest CNC laser printing, laser cutting, and 3D printing technology. Just more examples of my personal background with combining previs and motion control of giant cranes over live action sets, compositing with CG. It's something we really encourage our students to do, things that have never been seen before. Also, a lot of my background is game design, which we do a little bit here, and it's growing all the time with interest driven from our students. Feature animated film. I know some of you remember South Park, that's a whole nother story. And international. So I like this slide because, this is just my personal journey, bringing, again, my international friends and flavors to the department. These are all places that I've either lived or worked or lectured or taught. And it's really been a major influence on me in driving the department with our outreach efforts, our recruitment, international diversity. And then Rob will talk a little bit about our partnerships all around the world. Conferences are a huge part of our student volunteerism. Besides EVA, number one, we do a lot of interaction with the View conference, with FMX, and with SIGGRAPH, and VR. So we work with world-class Academy Award nominated and Academy Award winning filmmakers, including our good friend Bill Plimpton, utilizing his unique analog pencil sketching skills to make things that have never been done before, which is fully 3D VR environments based on his work. Something Google's Spotlight Stories team said couldn't be done. So, which is something I love being told, by the way. It's something, one impossible thing at a time, I say. And that's just the team that we put together to do that. So let's see, creative industries. Yeah, so I'll close out the slides so that we can talk more. We're talking about AI. So I was really influenced by this book. I guess it's 2001 now. Everyone's familiar with David Hockney, but this book was a big influence on me when I guess I was out of graduate school by then. But he basically laid out a very convincing case that the masters as we know them today absolutely embraced and used the latest technological innovations that they had at their time. And I remember being particularly pleased with my art history friends being very upset, and they just because it just blew their minds to suggest that the masters cheated with using camera obscura and mirrors and things like that, using technology to enhance their perspective drawing and things like that. But of course they did. Leonardo da Vinci was the biggest geek of them all. And then this is a quote about photography. So again, in the late 1800s, everyone thought, not everyone, but no, there was the saying that photography being the latest technological disruption would put painters out of work, right? No one's going to want to paint a portrait or paint landscapes anymore when you can just take a picture with that, newfangled camera stuff that's cheating. So you see where I'm going with this. And again, I'm just old enough to have appreciated this disruption when I was in undergraduate school as a graphic designer, how this was going to completely upend and put people out of work and end industries, and it's computers going to do all the graphic design. So coming to full circle, just the latest disruption that is AI, we've embraced it here, and we actively encourage students to use these tools, to communicate to us how they're using these tools. So it's an open conversation. And I wanted to say definitively that it's really easy to make really mediocre stuff. As most of you have discovered, this is not mediocre stuff. I was very impressed. This is more than 2 years ago now. My personal thesis students just showed up in class and said, oh, we've used these new tools as an art department. And we threw at it concepts and keywords and iterated a bit. And then they riffed off of this to do their own work. And it was a great jumping off point. It got them off the blank page and running really fast, which I loved. And of course, it blew my mind, scared the crap out of me about how amazing this looked and how easy it must be. So I tried it and was not so successful. And I played a little around a little more, and didn't get that much more successful. So it was a real wake-up call. Like, wait a minute, I thought you just pressed the button and said, make a beautiful picture. But I said, wait a minute, I've got, a lifetime of going to museums and listening to music and studying cinematography and movies and computer graphics and art. So then I started putting in keywords like, depth of field and angle and lens and influence. And I started to get something that looked pretty decent. But my point is, our students are not going to be losing jobs to AI. AI is nothing by itself. It needs an artist driver. And our students will lose jobs when they graduate to people who are using AI. So we're making sure that ours are using it. So that's it for the share. And oh, see, that's good. About 10 minutes. And we got plenty of time for Rochelle and Rob to step in. Let's see. I think you're just seeing our heads now, right? Oh, I see your room as well. But yeah, so let me see. So Rob, maybe you can step in if you don't mind and mention some of our European partnerships that you've really spearheaded for us, which will be a good relevance to our London cohort there.
Yeah, absolutely. So thanks again for the introduction, Terrence. For everyone there, my name's Rob Campbell, the Director of Ops here at our MFA Computer Arts Department. I've had a chance to be with the program for about 5 years, which has really flown by. But so much has changed and developed. And one of those things has been our international effort of collaborating. So our department in particular has a pretty deep involvement of going to conferences and festivals, throughout a lot of Europe, and has even recently gotten to South America and obviously domestically in the US. And other than staying on the cutting edge of seeing relevant films and the advancements of technology, we get to meet other industry contacts in different museums and different areas of related studies, as well as other academic institutions. So we've had just like a really great opportunity of being able to connect with other people who think creatively in what I would say a similar yet significantly different language, right? Everyone kind of tackles this the digital arts or the media based and digital sphere in a different way. And through our discussions, we've been able to foster a lot of really good connections. So, what does that look like? In the past year, I've had a chance to talk to museums and institutions. So coming up this summer, we're actually going to be participating in Ars Electronica in Linz, Austria, which will be fantastic. And we're having a chance to send two of our alumni there. And then if you're around in London in late September, we're going to have some students at the V&A, so the Victoria and Albert Museum, where we're exhibiting in the digital arts weekend as well. But then outside of exhibition opportunities, I've had the chance to talk to other schools. So most recently, we had a chance to collaborate with Animation Institute in Stuttgart. So we have a student that's currently there working with their diploma students to assist them in 2D animation. So he has a specific role in their department, is able to kind of come in and show his forte coming from our particular program, but then also really sponge in the European or specifically the Stuttgart or the German way of approaching a short form 2D animation. So we're super happy that he's able to experience that. And then in the fall, we're actually going to be hosting one of their students here. So likewise, they'll be able to take advantage of our opportunities and be in the middle of Manhattan, which will be a quite a change from Stuttgart. So it should be great. And we've had a lot of other, really great conversations. We've been talking to University of Greenwich. We're hoping to spearhead, anything that we can do to collaborate at this experimental arts and 2D and 3D animation. I'm just really happy with the outcomes that we've had so far. Creative people, I think, um, they foster some of like the absolute best conversations, and they also do well when they help each other. So being able to have this cross pollination and have them work on either projects or learn how they're learning in different environments has been like really fantastic. But yeah, so super exciting. I'm glad I could babble and I could talk about this all day long. I get really excited about sharing these types of things, but yeah,
No,
very cool stuff. Yeah.
That's fantastic. Thanks, Rob. Yeah, and I want to call out a couple of things that Rob mentioned were directly a result of myself and Rochelle being at EVA in person last year. We had I met Oliver. I think I saw him yesterday there, who invited me to speak with University of Greenwich, and that was a lot of fun. And Camille, I don't know if she's in the room. She was the one who introduced us to the Ars Electronica folks coming off of EVA last year. So that was great, and VNA as well. So, but I thought we got a couple minutes left. I'd love Rochelle to just talk a little bit for we got 2 or 3 minutes to say what she's been doing here with instigating collaboration and really spearheading our innovative technology. Rochelle.
Hello, EVA friends. I'll be there next year. I am already planning my paper. So I was there last year with my Can You Feel What I Feel? It was a VR audiovisual experience based on aesthetics for mental health support. And then from there, I moved to University of Illinois Urbana-Champaign, working in the Center for Innovation, Teaching and Learning in the Innovation Studio, where I was working with like several knowledge departments, very multi-broad. And then I had the opportunity and being like in the right time in the right moment of having this opportunity to work here at VA as the Assistant Director for Innovation Technologies, where I am spearheading some of the projects, initiatives that I started before. And one of them is like integrating motion capture in the 3D animation pipeline, and also in real-time motion capture within Unreal and Maya for experimental art students, collaborating and with faculty and the students. It's a very like rich community. The students are really interested. Some of them ask very difficult questions about the technology of the systems. Also, we are starting to implement a virtual production in our studio here, and then collaborating with virtual production studios here in Manhattan, which are that there have been like a very important surge, and then more students are starting to open here. So it's a chance for the students to learn this craft and then be hired after. Yeah, there's many. I even like wrote down here, like we're also working on film AI and AI, a new class for next semester with award winner director Anthony Giacchino. And one of the things I remember when we were brainstorming, because that's something that we think that's very important, like to provide students with the opportunity to not only work with these emerging technologies and inspire them to use that in their own way and create, like new creative ways to approach those, but also integrating AI and having them a chance to use that. But then also, like, what is our role, the artist, making them understand what's the role of an artist in the world of AI. And while we were brainstorming, I remember that it came up with like, so that was the director saying like, so we are doing an AI film. So am I going to be a substitute in the future or something like that? And then Terrence and him and I were talking, and then we came up with the conclusion that in reality, we can use AI for good, and we can use AI to recreate historical facts that wouldn't be possible before by utilizing Gaussian splatting, by utilizing Soras and Luma, and all these technologies that are here now. And then that's what we want to introduce to our students.
Couldn't have said it better. Thank you, Rochelle. So I'm very respectful of time. We got about 2 minutes. Graham, if anyone has a question.
Well, let's see. Is there anyone who you have Terrence and Rochelle and Rod as a captive audience sitting above the screen? Tula.
Okay, so I think you mentioned Sora for the new technologies, AI, that are integrating all the media, so you can actually make a whole film using AI at this point, and how to mediate that. I mean, that could be fairly overwhelming at that level. Where you have music, sound, I mean, every aspect of media
Yeah,
is
but
put together by the app itself.
it's very true. I mean, as Rochelle said, when I pitched this idea of a new course, AI filmmaking, a critical exploration. My friend Anthony, who's an Academy Award winner, he was really interested in AI tools, knew nothing about them, was a little afraid of it, a little apprehensive. I said, great. You'd be the perfect person to teach a course and basically be learning alongside the student and have it be a bit of a sandbox. So breaking down, as you say, Tula, the entire pipeline of research and script writing and sound design and music composition and image and motion creation and editing and the whole process, and having all these tools along each of those steps to be explored by the students, along with more advanced techniques like, Rochelle mentioned Gaussian splatting, just the latest of many things. But it's, the ethics are really important to consider. But I think being open and playful about it all is the most important thing. And that's something we, as teachers, everyone knows that's really, tools are one thing, and storytelling is always what we're about. But doing it in a moral and ethical way is really important, as long as you're open about everything. So there's your 30 minutes, Graham.
Yes, indeed. Well, first of all, thank you very, very much indeed for the three of you for joining us here. We'll love to see you in person next year. That would be super. If you're going to be sending students over to London for the Mark Bartow and the DNA Digital Design Weekend, we can talk about that and see if we can look after them a little bit for you and give them a couple of tours to London of bits